Hello, beautiful vloggers. It's your girl Shay, and I am here to do your review and recap for Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta. This is season 1, episode 7, and the title of the episode is Pops Lacked and Drops It. So here's the thing. I'll be taking over this review and recap for Kim because she's no longer doing it. So get used to seeing this face doing the review and recap, and I guess you have to get used to this face because I didn't even put any makeup on today. So hopefully you like it. But if you don't, oh well, get into it anyway. So here we go. Now, the episode begins with Deb and Brandon, and they're at a soul food restaurant. And they're talking about how the showcase went last episode. Now, last episode, it was pretty dramatic because his showcase went to hell and back. And no, I don't think it ever really came back because the sound sucked. And he was very much a diva. You know, he doesn't know how to talk to people. Brandon really has no idea how to talk to people, how to treat people. You would swear that I really was watching this episode, especially the part, we'll get to that, but when he was talking to the girls Brave who are in his group or whatever, the group that he's managing, or what does he do? He's a vocal coach or whatever he's supposed to do, but he is just like so full of himself. But anyway, he doesn't really have management skills, and I really get the feeling like he thinks he's like P. Diddy in Making the Band. You remember that show? Like, that's how he treats them. Like, remember when Diddy had them all going to get cheesecake and all that stuff? Like, that's kind of the vibe he gives me. Like, he really thinks he's up there, but I had never heard of him. Nobody's ever heard of him until this show except his family. And so he's talking to his mom about how the showcase went. And she's telling him, like, look, everything should have gone like clockwork, but it didn't. Like, your show, it was very touch and go. Like, one act will go up, and then you have to wait a while, and then the next act will go up. So it didn't run like clockwork like it was supposed to. And then on top of that, the sound sucked donkey balls. So it was like trash. It really was. So, she's just telling him that. And she was like, your artists, they need sound checks. That's what a rehearsal is for. But in rehearsal, last episode, he was just like dogging them, basically telling them they not doing a good job. But how you gonna tell them what kind of job they doing, but you're not doing a good job putting the showcase together because the sound was trash. And you clearly hadn't had like some serious sound check or mic check or any kind of check. I mean, you probably want to get cut a check, but I don't know if you really deserve it because the show sucked ass, okay? So he was kind of like mad at her while they're sitting there at this little soul food restaurant having a conversation. He was not feeling it. He was just, looking like a sourpuss almost. And, he was like, one thing that really ticked him off was that he was giving his artists advice and they weren't really taking it. But when she said it, they took it differently and all this stuff. And I'm like, first of all, it's your delivery, because Deb Antney, her delivery is kind of rough too. She could be she could snipe at you a little bit. She could be a little snippety, but that's even a word. But at the same time, like, she still commands attention because she's a boss. People know that she helped bring about the careers of Waka Flocka and Nicki Minaj and Gucci Mane and all these people. So she is very well respected in the industry. Whereas you are this up and comer telling all these people all these things they need to do to get to a certain level, and you haven't even reached that level. Like, I did agree with Reginae on that. Like, who are you? Like, really? I mean, Reginae's attitude is terrible, but she did have a point. Like, really, who are you? Like, seriously. So, he was kind of mad, like, and part of that is your fault. And then she basically told him, like, well, you're thin-skinned, and if you're going to be in this business, you're going to have to toughen up because everybody's not going to hear everything the way you want to hear it, or the way you want them to hear it, and all of this stuff. But at the same time, it's also his delivery. He doesn't know how to talk to people. She's really rough around the edges too, but she has a level of professionalism where people trust that she can take their career to the next level because they have seen her do it with other people. So clearly there's a method to the madness, where with him it's just madness. There is no method because you can't even elevate your own career. How you gonna elevate somebody else's? So he was just really upset about everything. And then he was like, he was tired of artists pushing him to the side for her. And I guess I think that he really was saying that because Zonnique, basically told him after he made her cry, which I was having a conversation with Kim, and I was telling her, like, it really annoyed me when I watched the last episode, I think it was the episode before last, when he had Zonnique crying and stuff, and she wanted to hug him and he wouldn't hug her back, and then finally she was just like, I want to work with your mom. Like, what did you expect her to say? Did you expect her to say she wanted to work with you, even though you don't know how to treat her, you don't know how to speak to her, you don't know how to talk to her? Like, I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to work with you either. So I guess he's feeling like people have chosen his mom over him, and I really don't blame any of those people. Zonnique did that, and some of the artists at his show was actually asking him, like, you know, can you set us up and hook us up with your mom or whatever? And his mom was kind of like taking over, talking to the female rapper, talking to the group Brave and all of this stuff. So I think he's really intimidated by his mother's success. I really think that's what it is. He's intimidated by what his mom brings to the table. That's just my take on it. And I also think that she wants his group Brave, but you know, we'll get to that later. So anyway, Deb is after the whole conversation that she has with Brandon, she's in the car driving, and she ends up getting on the phone with Bow Wow's dad, which I think is a bad idea. I'm not sure why she is contacting this man. Bow Wow has made it clear that that's not the space he's in right now. And some of us have that issue because, you know, I don't have the best relationship with my father. And, you know, I'm not even here to badmouth or bash anybody, but the point of the matter is you have to let people do things on their own time. You can't decide for somebody else when it's right for them to rekindle a friendship, any type of relationship, whether it's parent, sibling, cousin, whatever. That's not really your place. Your place is to be supportive of their decision and not to force them into something that they're not really ready for, prepared for, or that they don't want. So I just think that Deb is overstepping her boundaries, and I don't think that this is going to end well. Well, we know it's not going to end well, but I just think that this is something where she should really tread lightly. I know that she likes to be the fixer, because we also see her, if y'all watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, we see her also trying to get Tommy back together with her mom and stuff like that. So this is the kind of thing she's on. She likes to help people get back together. I know that her heart is in the right place, but at some point your head has to take over and say, hold on, girl, let's reason for a minute and think about this. This may not be the best idea if that's not what he wants for his relationship with his father and his family, so on and so forth. And also, she starts rethinking it because, you know, Brat told her it wasn't a good idea. But at the same time, I think that Deb is somebody who's really set in her ways. She feels like she knows everything. She feels like she's always right. So at the end of the day, she's kind of going to do what she wants to do, and everybody's just going to have to deal with her decisions. But that's part of what made her successful, because she doesn't second guess herself. So because of the fact that she knows to go with her gut is to try to put them back together, but sometimes your gut can lead you in the wrong direction. You don't want it to, but sometimes it can. I think that, you know, Deb in this situation should fall back, but she's not going to completely, so it is what it is. So then we move on. Bow Wow and Da Brat, they are at the studio, and Deb is texting about, you know, possibly meeting up with Bow Wow, and Bow Wow's like, okay, you know, I'll meet up with you later, what's going on. And then they were talking about Da Brat's career really quick, and I just wanted to shout out Da Brat because I've been a fan of hers for years, and I love that they brought up the fact that she's the first female rapper to go platinum. So shout out to Da Brat because she's been in the game for a long time, and she definitely deserves the respect that she has received. Also, Bow Wow talked about his whole issues with Funkmaster Flex, because, you know, Funkmaster Flex threw him that shade, talking about Bow Wow as a mumble rapper. Now, there are a lot of mumble rappers, and they really get on my nerves. They have hot beats, but you can never understand what the hell they talking about. Bow Wow is not one of those people. Now, you could argue that Bow Wow doesn't always have substance in his raps, but I think that Bow Wow has progressed very well as a rapper. He is no longer Lil Bow Wow. He really has, you know, upped his game and is better and getting better and better and better at what he does. I think he is honing his craft a little bit. I just think that some people can't separate who he is from who he was, so they're not able to really get into his music like that. But he's had a couple hits, and, you know, I like Bow Wow. I think that sometimes he tries to be hard, or he tries to be a thug, and that's not really his lane, especially because he like my size. And that's kind of funny to me, because I'm only like 5'5", 120 pounds, and I imagine that Bow Wow's what, like 5'6", 5'6.5", maybe 5'6". I give him 5'7". Like, he sometimes play like that thug role, like, you not a G, baby, you not a G, but you are, you know, good at what you do, and he's entertaining to watch. So I like Bow Wow. I think that the whole Funkmaster Flex situation was unfortunate, because I don't agree. I don't think that Bow Wow is a mumble rapper. He still, you know, it has some growing to do as a rapper, but he's definitely not a mumble rapper. When I think of mumble rappers, I think of people like Designer. You know, he had that Panda song. The song was straight for like a club record or whatever. It was a hit when it came out, but at the same time, you can never really understand what he's talking about. Like, that's a mumble rapper. I don't think that Bow Wow fits in that category. I think that Funk Master Flex was kind of trolling Bow Wow, and Bow Wow fell for it, but it's kind of hard not to when somebody calling you out all over social media. So yeah, it's kind of messed up. Well, anyway, you know, Bow Wow says he's using the whole situation with Funk Master Flex as motivation to help him, you know, just, he like, I'm not gonna let him get in my head, I'm not gonna let him tear me down, I'm just gonna keep getting in the studio, being on my grind, doing my thing. So, you know, kudos to Bow Wow for not letting the haters take him off his game, knock him off his square, whatever. So, you know, that was good. And they did play a song that Bow Wow, Jermaine Dupri and Da Brat are doing together, and Bow Wow's verse wasn't bad on there. So I'm like, you know, he still has potential. I think that people just won't let him get past the fact that he is Bow Wow from, you know, the days of So Def being really big, and he was the only kid in the crew and all of that stuff. I think people haven't really moved past it, but I think that he's growing as an artist, and I definitely, you know, have a great deal of respect for that. Sorry about that. So anyway, they also talk about him possibly retiring. Da Brat tells him she doesn't want him to retire. I don't think he should retire. I think the only reason he, just like Toni Braxton, the only reason I hear artists really start thinking about retiring is because their music is no longer selling. And I'm not really mad at that, because it's like, if you're not buying my stuff, why am I constantly putting my art out there and nobody's really paying attention to it? But I do think that both of them still have a lot more to give. I'm glad that Toni Braxton didn't retire, because I love Toni Braxton. And as far as Bow Wow goes, I don't think he's really going to retire, because I don't think Jermaine Dupri and Da Brat are going to let him, because they love him so much and they want to see him succeed and be great and do all these wonderful things with his career. So moving on, Bow Wow, Da Brat, and Deb Antney are at the club. And, you know, Deb lets Bow Wow know that she spoke with his dad, and he is not very happy about it. He is not feeling it. He was like, you know, he really feel like she's disrespecting him, and she's not listening to what he wants. And, you know, she's not respecting his privacy, and she's going against his word. Like, that's not what I said I wanted. So you should come from a place where you're understanding of that, because this is my life. This is my personal life. And you should just respect those boundaries. And at the end of the day, if somebody asks you to respect the boundary, you should do that, because that person doesn't have to have you in their life. And Deb is going to mess around, and he's not going to want to have anything to do with her going forward, because he's going to feel like, you know, I can't trust you to really listen to what I'm saying and listen to what I want from a friendship or a mentorship or whatever the case may be between the two of them. If you're not hearing me, then at some point I'm just going to walk away and be like, okay, it's like talking to a brick wall. Why are we continuing this conversation? So I think that Deb really should just like leave this situation alone for the moment, because he really is not here for it, and you have to respect where he's coming from. And he's talking about he doesn't want her to sit here and play counselor. And I get where Deb is coming from, because she said something about she wants him to break the generational curse, and you know, you're a father now and you have a child, so maybe she wants the child to get to know her grandfather. But that is a decision for her parents to make. That is not a decision for Deb to make. I respect where Deb is coming from, but I think she is definitely overstepping her boundaries. I don't really know how many other ways I could say it, okay? That's all I'm saying. So moving on, Zonnique is in the studio, and she gets a little phone call from Deb, and that basically Deb is saying, you know, I like the music that you sent me. The music is really good. I've actually heard some of Zonnique's music on YouTube or whatever, listen to a couple of her tracks. Zonnique actually has a really she doesn't have a big voice, but she has a pretty voice, and she has some good tracks. So shout out to Zonnique, because I've heard some of her songs, and I think that Tiny helps her write a lot of her music. And yeah, she got some good little records or whatever. So she's talking to Deb on the phone, and Deb is like, you know, I really like what you're putting together. Let's go ahead and get stuff moving so we can get you a listening party together and have some people really come out and hear your song, because I really like the song that you sent me. And also we can start putting stuff together so that you can have a team, because you know, you're moving and shaking out here, you're gonna need an assistant and all this stuff. And I'm like, look at Zonnique moving up in the world, gonna get you an assistant. So I thought that was a good little moment. So Deb is helping her out. Brandon got a problem with that because Zonnique was working with Brandon first, and Zonnique dropped a 0 to get her a hero, and Brandon mad as hell about it. Now, I've seen some stuff on Instagram where Brandon is saying that the way this show is filmed and edited and stuff like that, the producers is trying to make him look bad. But I don't know if that's true. All I know is that they can only show what you do on TV. So, yeah, maybe they may be edited in a certain way, but they can't be edited to make you look like a brat, because if you actually said some of this stuff, then they can't force the words in your mouth. So, I really didn't like the way he treated Zonnique, so I'm glad that she's moving on. I personally think she should have stayed with her mom, Tiny, but it looks like she probably is. But we'll get to that as well. So Reginae is getting some messages sent to her on Instagram from Brandon, and basically saying that he wants to click up and they need to have a conversation or whatever. And so she's kind of ignoring that. She's not really happy about it, but surely they're gonna meet each other again, because this beef is never gonna die down. The whole season has been about this whole beef between the two of them, so I'm sure we'll see some more issues with the two of them. Anyway, Toya gets home and she's talking to Reginae, and she really wants Reginae to go to college and do all of these things with her life, to better herself and all this stuff. Reginae is saying she really don't want to go to college. She's not somebody who's really into school. She doesn't like school. I think that Reginae, there are a lot of people who don't like school. I'm not hating on it, because for a long time I didn't either. So, I mean, what can I really say about it? But I also think that Reginae is spoiled. She's used to getting everything from her father and partially from her mother, because at first her mother was talking about she wasn't going to throw her birthday party, and then she threw it. So she used to getting spoiled by both her mom and her dad. And I think that because she's used to being spoiled by the both of them, she kind of is taking this position where she really probably doesn't want to go to college, because she knows she's going to get a trust fund. She knows that she's going to be well taken care of no matter what she does. And so that's how they say, rich kids don't sometimes have the same drive as other people, because they don't have to. They don't necessarily have to get out there and grind and work like other people to figure out they place in life, or hone their craft and all that stuff. They can figure it out as they go, because they know that their parents have huge sums of money stashed away somewhere. So, well, Toya was telling her, I really want you to do something with yourself. I really want you to go to college. I really want you to do this, that, whatever. Reginae is not really here for it, but she did say she wants to write a book with her mom, and she wants the book to be about the relationship between mother and daughter. And at first, her mom was like kind of poo-pooing the idea, but then she came around to it, because she started thinking about her situation, Toya's situation with her own mother, which is of course Reginae's grandmother. And Toya's mother has been, I guess she was saying, on and off drugs her whole life, and currently right now she is still on drugs, and she hasn't even stopped, even though she has already lost 2 sons. Because remember, a couple years back, 2 of Toya's brothers were murdered in, I believe, Louisiana, which is where Toya is from. So, she's kind of feeling like, yeah, this would be a good book for people to understand, some of these things that people go through, and that they're not alone and all of this stuff. So I think that that's great. I think that Reginae actually had a really great idea. I think there are a lot of people who could benefit from a book like that. So kudos to them. Hopefully they do it. But Reginae was kind of getting annoyed with her mom, because she was like, you got to pull your weight and all of this stuff. And she was like, this is what annoys me about my mom and all this stuff. And I'm like, girl, you are so like, Reginae's attitude is on a whole other level. If they don't get that girl attitude in check, she gonna run into the wrong person, I'm trying to tell you. And then, she was like, she treats me like a kid. And I'm just like, but girl, you kind of act like a kid sometimes, because every time you get into some drama or something, the first person you call is your mother. So, I mean, like, every time she got into it with Brandon, she was calling her mama on the phone, or she was going to the hotel room to get her mama and her cousins and all this stuff. So it's like your mom kind of treats you like a kid, because every time you run into a problem with your grown mouth, you then become a child and go get your parent, because you talk trash to people like you grown. But then when they come for you, you go get your mommy. So you can't really have it both ways, boo. It's one or the other. So, that happened. And then, moving on. Oh, okay, so it's the rehearsal. Jesus. I don't want to say the Lord's name in vain. But it's this rehearsal for the group Brave. And Brandon is doing this rehearsal. I'm telling y'all, he really thinks he's P. Diddy and making the band. I'm telling y'all, y'all have to tell me y'all remember that scene where he made them walk for that cheesecake and all that stuff. This guy really thinks he is Diddy. Like, the way he is talking to them, the way he is treating them, you know, he's like, soon as they get into the song, he stops the song. He like, what y'all think y'all did wrong? Or do y'all think y'all did anything wrong? And I'm like, if you don't calm down, if you don't calm down, okay, child. And then they like, well, maybe it was our energy was a little low or whatever. And he was talking about, you know, you need to get your energy up from the beginning, because this is what superstars do. And I remember the last rehearsal, he was telling the same two girls, because they was dancing on a different song like 2 episodes ago, and he gonna tell them, if you're not sweating within the first 30 seconds of the song, you're not doing something right. And I'm like, sweating within the first, like, for real, first of all, with all due respect, you out of shape, so you not even sweating out here. You know, I mean, it could be a thyroid issue, but I'm just saying, like, he's extra to me. He's very extra to me. He's over the top, and this is why your career is not taking off to the place you want it to, because you're doing too much. It's almost like everything he's doing right now is an extension of his ego. He's very prideful, and he's very full of himself. He's self-absorbed, and is annoying to watch. And you know, I don't know what it's gonna take for him to get it. Maybe seeing himself on TV, maybe he's watching this show and like, dang, I could have handled that differently or something like that. Hopefully he is, because sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you see it differently than when you take a step back and you actually live in it. But child, he is doing the most with the least. Okay, let us continue. So Zonnique, Reginae, Ayana, and Shaniah, who is Jermaine Dupri's daughter, they all meet up just to hang out a little bit. And Reginae is automatically upset because Shaniah brought Ayana. And it's like, girl, get over it, okay? Like, Reginae is, you know, I have to remember that she just graduated high school, I think. I have to remember that, because the level of petty, I have to remember that the girl still has teen in her age, because she is, I mean, I would say childish, but she is still kind of a child, so it's to be expected. But at the same time, she's a spoiled brat, and she behaves like one, and it's kind of annoying. So Reginae is telling them that Brandon hit her up on Instagram or whatever, and she's like rolling her eyes and talking about, you know, I don't want to see him or whatever and all this stuff. And Ayana is basically like, you know what, I'm ready for anything if it got to do with throwing hands or whatever. So, you know, she was saying like Reginae doesn't want to go there with Brandon. She don't want to go there with me, this, and that. And, you know, because Ayana is really sick of Reginae. And Reginae keeps trying this girl. And the way this girl be talking about her anger management all the time, like either she is a lot of talk or she really got some hands on her. Now, I haven't decided which one it is. She may be a lot of mouth, because a lot of times the people who talk the most don't do a lot. But at the same time, when you talk about I think she had court-ordered anger management or something like that. It may be a whole other situation. So Reginae is kind of like getting slick or whatever. And in her confessional, Ayana was like, I'll beat her ass. And she's trying to make trouble, and I will beat her ass. And I'm like, okay, now, like, you talking a good game, so I don't know if you really about that or what's going on. But then Reginae said something else slick, or she just like flicked her hair like she had a little attitude or whatever. I caught the shade, and Ayana was like, you know, shut up, because I'll start fighting. And everybody's face was like, But did y'all notice that Reginae did shut up? She stopped talking. So Reginae is not as big and bad as she thinks she is. She was willing to talk tough to Brandon, because she probably know Brandon as a male won't hit her. Although she need to be careful with that, because there are men who put their hands on women. So you might want to chill with the mouth, boo-boo. You might want to chill. But, okay, at the same time, when she told her shut up because I'll start fighting, Reginae shut that mouth real quick. And then in her confessional, Reginae says, oh, she's irrelevant. But why you didn't say that to her if you so big and bad is what I want to know. Where was all that mouth when it was time to say something to her? Because when she told you shut up because I'll start fighting, you did. Just saying. So you're not as tough as you pretend to be, and you know you're not. Because if you thought you was really tough, you wouldn't let her get away with talking to you like that. So the fact that you didn't tells me that you know full well you're not about that life. You not. So stop pretending. I forgot who I was talking about on another video that I said they be pump faking. You pump faking too. You pretending. Yeah, this whole persona is real false. Because when girl told you to shut up, you did. And anything you had to say about her being irrelevant, you said in your confessional. You didn't say to her. So that right there let me know that you think she about that life. Because if you didn't, you would have kept talking. You didn't. But I don't blame you, because she probably would have whooped your ass. So moving on. Oh, and they was staring each other down too. Like, Ayana looked like she really will get with Reginae and throw them hands. I'm just saying, the stare down that they was giving each other at the end, I noticed Reginae wasn't saying too much else. If that was Brandon, Reginae would have been running her mouth. She would have been flapping her gums. But when she got go toe to toe with another chick, oh, she shuts up real quick. Where was all that mouth then, boo-boo? So then at Deb Antney's office, she gets a call, and it says it's from Alfonso Moss, Shad Moss's dad, aka Bow Wow. So Bow Wow's father calls, and he's talking, and I'm noticing that his words are slurring a little bit. Turns out Deb thinking the same thing I'm thinking. He a little twisted, you know what I'm saying? He a little drunk. He been drinking. He been hitting that bottle a little bit, and you know, she's like, I should have minded my own damn business. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you should have. You should have. I like Deb, but you should have minded your own business. That was none of your business. You shouldn't have got nowhere near in the middle of that drama between him and his father. But she did. So, you know, I just felt like I couldn't even really make out half the stuff he was saying. I was not about to read all them subtitles because it looked like he wasn't really talking about nothing. I would have read the subtitles if he was having a real conversation. But I'm not about to read the subtitles of a drunk person. So I didn't even read all the stuff he was talking about because it really, to me, didn't seem like he was really... I mean, yeah, he's saying, I miss my son. I want to have a conversation with my son. I want to meet up with him. I've been trying to get in touch with him. He not hitting me back, all of this stuff. But what it really boils down to is you're still drinking, and that was his issue with you from the beginning. Bow Wow's named 2 issues with his father. One, that his father chose the bottle over him. 2, that his father was in and out of his life. So if you're still doing one of the 2, you really can't have that bond with him yet because you're still doing the very same thing that pissed him off in the first place. So I don't understand where this is going, because I think that Deb has crossed the line getting in the middle of their relationship. She should not have, because the man's still drinking, and as long as he's still drinking, him and Bow Wow are gonna struggle to have a relationship, and that's just with anybody. Unless you're gonna put up with the alcohol and all of that stuff, nobody's gonna fight you over your drinking and stuff like that. Like, cause you're a grown man, so whatever. But then Brandon and Ayana are at the bar. And, you know, they having a little conversation or whatever. He's still jealous of his mom. I don't even know how else to say it. He's just jealous of his mother. He's very intimidated by her success. But at the same time, her success is what got you where you are. Like, he keeps knocking his mother. And he was saying something like, I hate my mom right now. And I'm like, really? Really? That was low. That was very low. I can't stand when I hear people say stuff like that. Like, why? Because she's better at what you're trying to do than you are. She has way more years of experience than you, too. Like, that's how she keeps a roof over your head. So why are you knocking what your mother? And the only reason you have access to the artists to work with them, the only reason you had access to Zonnique and all these people, the only reason why any of these people even partially know your name is because your mother is Deb Antney. Like, this, you literally are biting the hand that feeds you. Like, you tripping right now. Like, he not literally biting her, but shit, you might as well be. It's just crazy to me that he is sitting here down at his mom, and his mom is the reason why he even has the career he has. Why people will even entertain paying him for his services is because of his relationship, his mother-son relationship with Deb Antney. Like, the person that you hate is the person who put you in a position. Forget all that. You wouldn't even be on this show if it wasn't for your mother. Okay? Your mother paved the way for your brother, Waka Flocka. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything that you have and that you're trying to expand began with your mother, who you are downing on national television. Like, he is annoying the hell out of me. So, you know, he's jealous. He also mad because in that little rehearsal, his group Brave said they want to meet up with Deb. So, you know, he's mad about that too. He's mad that the group that he's been nurturing is looking to see, like, okay, are we ready to meet with your mom now? Because the way they see it is, you're artist development, but you're really just developing me to get to the next stepping stone. And the next stepping stone is your mother, not you. So he's really mad about that because Zonnique already ditched him. The rapper from last episode was looking like she want to go with Deb Antney, and now the group Brave wants to go with Deb and all that stuff. He is really upset. And then Ayana tells him about how his mom is putting together a team and stuff for Zonnique or whatever. He's not happy about that. He just feels like, oh my God, you know, she trying to steal everything out from under me. And I'm like, she built everything you have. What you mean she's stealing it out from under you? Oh my God, he got to be one of the most ungrateful, like, for real. At least as much of a brat as Reginae is, at least she understands that her parents worked hard to get to where she is. I mean, she's a big ass brat too, but he is a brat on a whole other level. And he like almost 10 years older than her. He got to be like 8 years older than her, because I think he said he's 25, 26 and she like 17, 18. So yeah, you tripping, boo. Like, you a grown ass man acting like this. You are tripping, and so many people would love to be in your position. Child, I can't even with him. And then he in his confessionals talk about Debbie. You don't know who you messing with. I hate the fact the way he called his mom name like that. Like, some kids do call their mom by their first name, but it seems like every time he does it, he's saying it with an air of like arrogance, or like, it's like this tone in his voice. It's almost disrespectful, because you know, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. And the way he calls his mother's name, sometimes it just seems like it's shade for some reason. Like, it feels wrong on so many levels. And then he like, how she planning an audition without me and all of this stuff. And I'm like, child, she planning an audition without you because Zonnique dropped you. Zonnique fired your ass. That's how. Did you forget? Did you forget? Well, let me remind you, you got fired. That's how she's planning one without you, because she don't need your permission, because you no longer on the team, boo-boo. Move on. So Reginae and Toya are walking a dog. They get into it because Reginae, of course, has not started on the book, and Toya basically knew she wasn't gonna do it. Speaking of disrespectful children, let's get to Reginae. So, you know, Toya is basically like, you always start stuff that you don't finish and all this stuff. And then excuse me, Reginae says to her mother, girl, chill out, you doing too much. Excuse me. See, this gotta be because Toya was so young when she had Reginae, that Reginae talks to Toya more like she her friend than her mother, because I think Toya was like 12 or 13 when she had Reginae. So she was a baby having a baby, basically. So this is why your daughter speaks to you like that, because she don't have that level of respect that she would if you were a bit older than her. Or it could just be, it's the age thing partially, but it's also just that you let her get away with it. Because when she said, girl, chill out, I was like, I wish I would talk. Even at my age, I would never say that to my mother. Like, I just never would. But I was kind of like flabbergasted. Maybe it was just me. It wasn't like she cussed her mama out, but it was just, once again, the tone, the way they say stuff. They seem very disrespectful to their parents. This was an episode of disrespecting the parents, because when Bow Wow seen his dad, he said something to him like, what the fuck is you doing here? So this was just the episode of disrespecting the parents, I guess. Well, anyway, so Reginae just kind of annoyed the hell out of me, and Toya was like, I'm not gonna help you anymore, something like that. Next time, figure it out yourself. I'm like, yeah, whatever, girl. You said that before. Whatever. She talked to you like that because she can. Moving on. I still like Toya. I can't say that I like Reginae, but I like Toya. But I think that Toya need to put her foot down and like check the situation and be like, excuse you, watch who you talking to. But that's just me. Anyway, so Zonnique and Deb are holding auditions for their team. They had a lot of good people coming, showing up, whatever the case may be. It seemed like Deb knew what she was doing. Obviously, she does know what she was doing. And she put a lot of people together to come out and see Zonnique or whatever and try to get her a good little team together. Brandon shows up uninvited. Of course he does, because he wants to be the center of attention as always. And, Deb let him sit down. She's basically like, I'm going to let him have this moment for now, but I'm going to get them together. So then they're asking all kind of questions or whatever. And they're asking this one guy, like, what do you think makes Zonnique special, or what would you do for her, or something like that. And he was saying something about, he basically compared her to Aaliyah, saying that he would do something for her career, make her the new Aaliyah, I think he said. And, Deb's already annoyed because she said that Brandon holds grudges and all of this stuff, and she kind of sick of his behavior. So when she tells the guy, like, hey, listen, you don't compare an artist to another artist, which I agree with. She said that's her pet peeve. It's kind of my pet peeve too. Like, no, the carbon copy is never as good as the original. So just be an original. Don't try to be what somebody else is. Don't try to let somebody force you to be somebody else. Aaliyah is amazing. Nobody else is going to be Aaliyah. That's just it. So why try to take that lane? I understood what Deb was saying, but Brandon just wanted to argue, so he jumps in and was like, no, I think it was just an accident, and he didn't mean it like that, and he spoke incorrectly or whatever. And I just think that he is so damn unprofessional that it's ridiculous. And I think that he is very disrespectful. His mother got him together, then she stormed out. But I'm just like, he just wants to be in his mom's shoes so bad. And it's sad to watch a child envy their mother the way he envies his mother. That he want to be his mom. Like, no shade. He do. He want her career. He want it all. So I'm like, Deb, I would hate to say you need to watch your back with your son, but it's kind of looking like that to me. Like, he really is into himself. And then Zonnique was like kind of over them too, because Zonnique was like the apple don't fall far from the tree, because she was feeling like, maybe he was just a dramatic one. But then she sees that Deb is the kind of dramatic too, with the whole walkout situation and the way she was catching the attitude. So I think that pretty soon we're going to see Zonnique probably is going to be going back to her mom, asking her to be her A&R again. So yeah, that happened. And then Bow Wow is at the studio, and the producer texts the dad like he on the way and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, here we go. So now supposedly the producers didn't know he was on his way. But how the producers didn't know his father was on the way if it was a camera crew filming the father in the car on the way to the studio? So clearly y'all knew he was coming. Like, I was like, that was very staged. How does the producer just find out, like, oh yeah, we just found out your dad is on his way, but you managed to get a camera crew inside the car filming him while he's on his way? Like, okay, all right, yeah, I believe you. Dun, 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 dun. I'm a dunce. I was born yesterday. Like, it's y'all stupid. Like, for real. Okay, so then Bow Wow was flipping out, by the way, in the studio, real pissed off. And he was saying stuff like, he lucky, I'm about to give him some TV time. And his dad was like, I'm more excited than the day he was born. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what he meant by that. Like, maybe because you think you about to rekindle this relationship, or you more excited because you on TV. I'm not sure, but his dad said he more excited than the day he was born. And then Bow Wow was like, I'm gonna start barking on this nigga. And I'm like, this is what I mean when I say Bow Wow be trying to act like he a thug, and he not. Bow Wow is you. Listen, I like Bow Wow a lot, but you are not a G. You are not a thug. You are not a gangster. You are nothing in between. You are nothing above that. Nothing below either. Like, I'm not, and that's okay. It's nothing wrong with not being a thug. But I guess sometimes in our community, especially in the hip hop community, is looked at like, if you, especially as a black man, you gotta be a thug. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have hands and you gotta do all that. You don't have to do that. That don't have to be the lane you take. But I guess that Bow Wow want that lane. So then he started talking about, if I have to keep waiting on this motherfucker, it's gonna be worse for him and all that stuff. And I was just like, Bow Wow, you not about that life. We know you not. We know you not. Okay? And it's not even just that he little. It's just that we done watched you grow up. We all know you not out here like that. And you don't have to be. You don't have to put on a role. You don't have to be fake. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to do none of that. I guess he thinks that he has to, so he continues to put on a show. But just like Reginae, pump faking, pretending, She not about that life, and neither is he. Ayana checked her. She wasn't about to do nothing. Bow Wow, I haven't seen anybody check him yet, but at the same time, like, who is Bow Wow fighting? Like, nobody. But anyway, his daddy get there and he was like, I'm 30 and he should have did this 20 years ago, and I agree with that and all this stuff, but I just don't like the way he talking like he's such a G. Like, he got every right to be upset. He got every right to feel like, why are you coming around? Oh, look at this curl. He got every right to be like, you know, why are you coming around now on that BS or whatever. But I'm just like, you doing a little too much for me. That's all I can say. But yeah, then the dad walks in and then Bow Wow says to his father, what the fuck are you doing here? I'm just like, this was an episode of kids disrespecting the hell out of their parents. Sorry to see it happen, but that's what the case was. And y'all saw it. I saw it. Tell me in the comment section how y'all felt about the episode. I thought, you know, it could have gone better. It kind of broke my heart a little bit to see so many kids coming at their parents kind of sideways. I didn't really like that. But I did enjoy the show. Hopefully y'all I can't even talk. Hopefully y'all did too. Please like and subscribe. Talk to you guys next time. Also, we have some other reviews and recaps on Writers Vlogs. Check those out. I will have on Sunday the Power recap and review. Also, Real Housewives of Potomac. I believe it's going to be the reunion. Can't wait for that. And then on Monday, I will have also the reunion for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. So make sure you subscribe so you can get all those latest uploads, okay? Talk to y'all later. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you. Bye.